Okay, everybody.
It's 5:30 p.m. I'd like to begin this talking session of council. We have 5 items for action this evening, under new business being 3 ordinances and 2 motions. Are there any recommended changes or additions to the agenda as presented this evening?
The only thing is executive session. I think we're going to need an executive.
Okay, we're going to have an executive session immediately.
For purposes of pending litigation.
For purposes of pending litigation immediately following this meeting. Okay.
You want to give these people A, B, C?
Yeah, we could do that. A, I'll take that case and we'll be set for public hearing.
Do we do that?
You can do that. Okay. B?
Yep.
John, C?
Yep.
And Mayor D?
D.
And back to Chuck and E.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to call this November 4th, 2015 council meeting to order. Would you please stand for the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Here.
Mr. Tisch?
Here.
Thank you. Okay, I will need to receive one set of minutes from the October regular council meeting. Are there any revisions to those minutes? If not, they stand approved and on record. Under reading of communications, Mr. Tisch.
I have none.
Mr. Rogers.
I have none.
Mr. Morvay.
Just to congratulate Mr. Joe LaCicero for his brilliant campaign and welcome to the council for 2016.
Thank you.
Mayor Cosar.
I would like to compliment Councilman Morvay for his brilliant campaign. I have one other thing just to be aware of. We were asked to come up with a proclamation making November the 13th World Pancreatic Career Day. I'm not going to take the time to read it, but just be aware of that. And they gave a lot of statistics. It's very important. Just have an awareness.
Well, there's no Mr. Marino today, so whoever's taking his place, Chuck? Nobody at this time? Okay. Under reports of committee, city manager, and department heads, Mr. Rogers.
No, I have no report this evening.
Mr. Morvay.
Yeah, the fire district continues to move forward with the property now secured on Herbert Road and the architect in place. Everything is finally starting to move forward, and hopefully by spring we'll have the plans out for bid, and by maybe middle next year perhaps start to build. Yeah, as you know, Andy Scrivola passed away the other day, and we lost a very valuable person on the fire district. And so we will be looking to replace Andy. If anybody is interested, why maybe a short resume to one of the board members or to the chief, and we'll be looking to start the interview and replace Andy. He was at large, so it'll be a matter of the four other members coming together and choosing a person to replace him.
Thanks, John. Mayor Cosar.
The court report for the month of October, we had gross collections of $5,940.10, and after we paid to the various funds that were mandated to pay to the state, we had a net collection of $5,004.10.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Bob?
For the month of October, we had 3 funerals, all of which were full interments. We had 3 water main repairs. So far this year, we picked up 106 loads of leaves, with 55 of those loads this week alone. When we're not picking up leaves, we're staying busy trying to clean up the leaves in the cemeteries and the parks and trying to keep up with everything else that we need to get done. And as of right now, we've received 823.55 tons of salt. I've got another 200 tons ordered. Once that's delivered, I'll order the final 200 tons. We'll have 1,200 tons of salt on hand for this one. That's all I have.
I got an email late this afternoon that they're releasing our 2014 audit report tomorrow. So if anybody wants to see it or get a copy of it, you can go out to the state auditor's website and it can be downloaded in a PDF form. We had a conference call with our insurance broker last week and asked him to get us a quote for insurance that was not within the consortium to compare it to what we have. And it actually was $12.50 a month higher than what we're paying, and had less coverage. And I have started working on the budget for 2016.
Christine, do we self-insure any portion of the health care?
Yes.
We do.
You do.
So maybe that would be a possibility too, maybe raising the deductibles.
The plans that he had, it was raising it up some, but it really was not making much of a difference. It didn't even make $1,000 a month in the premium. It wasn't worth it. Yeah.
John?
Yeah.
If we go to self-funding, don't we still have to set aside reserve for payouts, either claims incurred versus claims paid in type situation?
Yes.
Okay.
But there's a blend, and I think that's what you guys
That's what
are
we
doing.
have.
So they have a fully insured, and then they have a high deductible, and they insure that risk themselves. It's a hedging method.
For the month of October, we issued 14 zoning permits for a total of $533,000.55.
From a police perspective, excited to announce that we will be escorting our football team to their playoff game to the city limits, maybe a little further. But I'm excited for the football team to make it back to the playoffs, so that was a great phone call to get, and very happy to honor that for our football team. Halloween was a good experience for the police department and the community as well. I've had a lot of feedback from our residents. Felt like it was a good night, weather, felt safe. All of our cruisers were out, all of our bikes were out. Also had a lot of feedback from residents regarding our bike patrols that we did this summer. They were definitely deployed a little bit more than we have in the past, and we did that without an extreme amount of hindrance on our budget. We did that through our normal patrol and had a lot of feedback for that, so we're already planning ahead for that. It was a great way to get our officers out in the community. And yesterday I got to compliment Sergeant Wells. I got a phone call this morning that a mother looked out in her front yard and he was out on patrol playing catch with her child in the front yard. And there's a time and a place for that, and I thought it was very appropriate, so I was excited about that. Makes me want to go back on patrol. From a city manager, for Patty, we'd like to, she would have to announce that potential budget meeting on November 12th. We'd have to get it advertised. Does that time work, date work? India, or
5:30.
Yeah, Joe had November 12th, 2015 at 5 p.m., but that's open. Just the time, so if you want to get back to him on that, just so Patty has enough time to advertise the meeting.
I won't be here, just so you know that.
But how do you need 24 hours on that?
As well? No, I'm not here.
Yeah, she needs 24 hours, so time to move forward with that. know that Joe had mentioned board appointees, planning and zoning. We have 2 reappointments. Design and review, there's 2 open appointments. Civil service, 1 open appointment. Tax review board, 6 appointments. And the JED board, 1 appointment. And John, I know you had mentioned this in the past, the intersection of Cardinal 224, results of the meeting with ODOT Cornerstone Electric, they were given permission to adjust the timer at the intersection.
Did they do that already?
I'm not aware. Yeah, Joe asked if we've had any
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Lately, but yeah.
I recently was given a complaint on the light at Tallsman at 224, and I know that's on that ODOT 224 loop, so I forwarded that to Joe, and we'll move forward with looking into that.
I'm going to reserve my report for executive session.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes.
If I could make a request of department heads, in light of the fact that we're anticipating a budget meeting coming up, I, for one, would appreciate department heads' input on any areas that you think that might help us curtail some costs, cut cost programs that maybe we don't need to be working with this year, or next year, excuse me, any of those kinds of things from your perspective. You're working in the departments rather than having us trying to tell you where we're going. I think that your input's going to be invaluable in that regard.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I know that most of us have already been working on that list, so.
Okay, thank you.
Under persons desiring additional information from department heads, may I ask that you step forward to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record, and keep your questions at 3 minutes maximum per person and no more than 30 minutes total. Your questions must only pertain to each department head's report this evening. Under recognition of persons desiring to speak before council, may I ask that you step forward to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record, and keep your comments brief. Joe Lissistro.
I just wanted to use this time to update the council and through the council, the citizens of Canfield. I'm really not sure how communication exactly disseminates, but I know you'll listen to this, right? I want to report on 2 initiatives that our committee has been working on, and we have a good representation here tonight. There's Nick Rosian. You missed the last meeting. Pat Boomer, the good stuff, and Nancy Crouch. We've all been working on we're working on a lot of things, but 2 have come forward. One is there's an essay contest that you might have read about. JT put it in the October 8th edition, and it's inviting kids 15 to 18, 11 to 14, and 7 to 10 to submit an essay about 120 words on what it means to be a citizen of Canfield. And we have some prizes, $100 for first place and $50 for second. We're working on donations right now. I have visited all the schools to enlist their support. Deadline's November 30th, and I'll let you know how we make out. The second initiative has been a survey we've been working on for a long time, and we are very close to finalizing it. And what we have is a cover letter which is really addressed to, we've really called it a questionnaire now rather than a survey, because we're not sure how many responses we will get, but any information we get is more than we have now, right? As far as our group is concerned. And so we're asking the citizens of Canfield to answer some questions that we put together, many of which we have discussed in our committee meeting after interacting with citizens and finding out what we think they know or might need to know, or certainly things that we don't know about what they're thinking. And we have that ready to go. Next week, what I would like to do is pass it out here to the council and maybe to the citizens of Canfield that are on staff, and have your group fill it out, and we could use that kind of as a contrast with what citizens feel. I know we think we know, but it would be, I think, a good comparison. Okay? And we have a couple students from Canfield High School that are going to help us evaluate the results. Jake Escarco, who I understand really had a heck of a football game last week, right? And David Hosses, who is a wrestler. I haven't been following him very much. But they're both good athletes and also very smart, I'm told. So we're looking forward to having their help. We have found a way of reproducing them, getting a couple thousand produced. We're now working on how to get the distribution out there because we have no money. And so we have to figure out how to get these in the hands of citizens without spending money. So I might ask JT again if he would help us get the word out that it will be, where we could pick them up. We have to figure that out yet. We think City Hall might be a place for those people that might. We are approaching the local churches to see if they would help us get these in the hands of citizens. The third thing is what to do with them after they're completed. And our target date is November 25th. That might be a little bit late for your budget discussions, but not too late. I think it might be helpful on expenditures at least. We would like to have the finished questionnaires dropped off at City Hall from 8 to 4, if that's okay. And after hours, we'd like to use Mr. Colucci, have them drop it off at the police department. We have a couple of receptacles, one here and one in the police department for people that get here at other hours.
Okay, we can facilitate that.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions at all?
Joe, you may just want to, include like a mailing address. Maybe perhaps they would like to mail it in, or if they can scan it, maybe put an email address, Joe's email address or something, or your email address. That way, if someone wants to scan it and send it in that way. I mean,
yeah, give them other options.
Yeah.
Maybe someone wouldn't mind putting a stamp on it.
Right.
Or
scanning it.
Excellent suggestion. I'll make those changes.
Okay.
Good input. Thank you.
Joe, you had mentioned that we are having 2 athletes that are going to evaluate these. What is their criteria for evaluation going to be?
Maybe I chose the wrong word. Maybe calculate. There's a lot of numbers in here.
Okay.
Averages, etc. I think the evaluation was the wrong word. I think the evaluation is up to you all and our committee.
Okay.
Joe, if I might point out, these 2 students are National Honor Society. This is a National Honor Society project for them. I think they're going to learn a lot more than we will. I expect to learn a lot, but I think this is going to be a great experience for these 2 young people. I think, Joe, it's in their best interest if you at least let them witness and observe the analysis of this data. I think they're going to learn by leaps and bounds.
Joe, we could put that on the website too. And
The survey
yeah.
itself?
Yeah.
People can go to it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a city-sponsored survey, is it?
Actually,
Tell me.
no, it's not. It's a citizen survey questionnaire. We've changed
Questionnaire, right.
questionnaire,
Like they could have
and we're going to make that information available. So
I think they should have a website if you don't, and
We
people
don't.
could get it off of there, but I would caution you against putting that on the city's website. Even though I think it's a wonderful idea, I think it's going to be problematic.
Yeah.
Thank you. We are grateful for having a drop-off point. We were thinking about using the new library, get done some traffic, but they're not going to be open in time. I'm told.
Right.
Okay?
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
Joe. Very good, Joe. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tammy Daughtry?
Yes. You need to state your name and record, or your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Tammy Doherty. I live at 170 Oak Tree Drive in Canfield. I've been a resident here for 20 years. I grew up in Poland and then I moved here and I've been here since. And we had an unforeseen incident at my home. I used my father's money when he died that he left me a small amount, and I put in a hot tub for my arthritis, and I built a waterfall, like a water fountain waterfall, out of big rocks. And the contractor it was built last summer, finished in August, it ran beautiful, all the way through November we took the pump out. And then in April 27th he put the pump back in, and from April 27th until I got a water bill in October. On October 9th, when I went to pay the water bill, it was $3,000. So, of course, I was rather alarmed, and I called the water company and said, for sure, there must be some mistake here. No human family could use that much water. And then I called Jason, the guy that built my pond, the fountain. And I got copies of everything. I have enough copies for all of you if you would like it. But I called Jason, and he came, and I talked to Susan at the water department, and I called the meth company, and they came, and I called a couple other plumbers too, because I'm a nurse midwife, and I do women's health care. I don't know a thing about plumbing. And this was not something foreseeable. It was just so beautiful. It was not anything that you could see all this water. And I have come to find that we used 358,000 gallons of water in 5.5 months because the float was stuck in the bottom of the crock. And there is a flow valve that's an automatic fill, and it all filled in my basement wall and under my house. And so my basement floor is lifting and the cracks are wide, and you can see the gravel in there. And so I have a real problem in addition to the water bill. So we had like a $1,244 electric bill. We had this huge water bill. And that water bill is for 105 days. So like some cities get a monthly or every other month, and this one was like 105 days. So there was no way for me to know sooner. And there was no evidence on the outside or inside that this was happening. There was no way for me to know until I sat down to do this water bill. And so I'm just here to ask for a favor. If possibly the sewage portion of it. I know we use water. I've been like very anal now at looking at my water meter every day since October 9th, and we use like 183 to 208 gallons per day. And even if you multiply, that in a month, that's only 6,000. And if you multiply that by 6 months, that's only 36,000. And we've used 358,000. So we use 320,000 more than I would use in those 5.5 months.
There's a motion that's item E on the agenda, waiving $1,525 of your bill, which is, I believe, the sewer portion of it, since none of that water went through the sewer system.
Right, and so there's a lot of documentation from everybody. There was a civil engineer there and plumbers and all of that.
Okay.
That. And I was also wondering if I could get a portion of that sewer bond fee, because that would help credit some of that as well.
Why don't you leave what you have with the city manager here, and we can take action tonight on what we have in front of us, and then if you want to consider something beyond that, we can take that up next meeting.
And like the electric bill that came a month before all this would have been the only thing, and when I called the electric company about a $1,200 electric bill, they said, well, are any of your appliances malfunctioning? And my refrigerator needed repaired 3 times in 8 weeks of that same time frame. So I brought like my receipt that showed like I had to buy a new refrigerator, and that's what the electric company said was the problem. And like I put all the dye from Susan in all my toilets. I even took the dye to my office and did all my office toilets. Like I just been paranoid. So like this totally was not like my mistake or anything I could have seen was stopped sooner. I would have stopped it immediately. So I'm just asking for grace.
I might make a comment right up front. If we have documentation of the leak and that situation, that's one thing. If we've had confirmation from Mahoning County Sanitary Sewer Department that they will not charge the city of Canfield for the sanitary sewer, then I am in favor of granting a credit for the sewer portion of the bill. If we do not receive some sort of a credit from the city of Youngstown for the water that's been used, because we are billed by the city of Youngstown, I will not be in favor of granting a credit for that portion, because by doing that, we are then saying that all of the residents of the city are paying for a water leak at your residence, and I don't think that that is appropriate. So I'm going to make that statement to you right up front. Just depending on what the outcome of this is, that might be a reason why I would vote no in that situation.
Mr. Tisch, from what I understand, the $1,525, which is noted on the motion, is an amount that the city of Youngstown has agreed to credit the city.
No, I don't believe that's correct. I think that's
just-
Mahoney County sanitary engineering.
I'm sorry,
From the
sanitary, I'm sorry, that's, yeah, we are
I
getting
understand
credit.
that as well.
Yeah, okay.
So I will be in favor of
That,
that.
right, okay. But the additional is what you're referring to. Okay, okay. Can we have what you...
Sure. Thank you.
Before you leave, ma'am, I have a sprinkler system at my house that has to be maintained in the spring. They turn it on, and then in the fall, they blow out the lines so they don't freeze. I'm not at all familiar with what you have, what kind of a system. But that system may need some maintenance in fall, so that the lines taking that water out to that apparatus, if you please, are empty so they do not freeze. And just a suggestion.
Thank you.
Frank McKeon?
Good evening, I'm Frank McKee. I reside at 220 Glenview. We purchased enough candy for Halloween for 50 people. 10 people showed up. The remaining Milky Ways are going fast.
My little boy stopped.
I wish you'd have come back again. I have to eat
Your
those,
wife didn't want to give up the candy.
I have to eat those candy bars. Anyway, for some time, I've been trying to get some meaningful financial data included in the staff reports. 2 meetings ago, Council responded to my request by pointing out the awards we get for our financial accountability. That's great. Good job. And I don't think we should expect anything else. The job is getting done very well. But getting back to my point to some meaningful financial data, why can't we have how much the total dollars there is in all our funds? How much, why can't we have, if there are any unplanned major expenses during the month of, say, $5,000 or more? Why can't we say how much the payroll was during the month? Let's have some more financial data is what I'm trying to get at. Now, many times I've heard it said that the city has some serious financial problems. Wouldn't this be a good time to highlight the issue with some serious numbers here in these chambers? Maybe we don't have a financial problem. Show me that we do. Show the residents that we do. 2 meetings ago, I asked if the check register and cash balance fund summary can be posted on the website. Has any of that received any consideration? I might point out that the Mahoney County Treasurer started to put his checkbook, we're trying to put his checkbook online. Let's do the same thing. What's the big secret? Let's put it out there so everybody can see it. Now I'm going to go into a great deal of financial data, but in the interest of time, I'm going to just hit a couple items. At the end of September, our general fund was $709,000. Our grand total of all funds was $5,080,000 and some change. From the beginning of the year, that's down about $500,000, or it's decreasing at the rate of about $55,000 a month. If that'll hold true for the rest of the year, I don't know. But let's have some data. Let's have some numbers. Let's share with the people what the issues are here in town so everybody can see it. Thank you for your time.
Christine, can I just ask you, don't we do a budget at the beginning of the year? And don't we
That's what we're
adhere
going
to
to start
that?
working on, yes.
Yeah, and don't we adhere to that budget?
if there was any large expenditure that was not in the budget, we would have to do a budget adjustment first.
Yeah, I think we're going to do that, yeah. That's what I thought.
Okay?
Frank, just a comment. We do a budget to try and guide us through the year, and we bring in the state auditors to see how good or how bad we did. Okay, so we're addressing a lot of what you say, but to address it twice a month in this meeting, we might have to put on another clerk to do that. And back to the treasurer of Mahoney County and putting his books on the internet. I don't know that he's there yet. That's not as easy as it sounds.
No, I don't think he's there yet, but he has, in my opinion, he's going in the right direction. I'm not asking for a ton of financial data, but tell us what the heart of the things are. Give us some numbers. It doesn't have to be a detailed financial report. Tell us something. What's going on? Thank you.
Under old business, there is none. Under new business, item A. As per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move the council dispense with the requirement of full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorize it by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dan? Discussion?
Yes. I don't believe that we're going to authorize it by title only. We're going to have first reading on that motion because, or that ordinance, because we need to have public hearing before we can pass that in. So we just need to read it by title only at this point.
That's correct. First reading, title only, it gets set for public hearing.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes. Mr. President, I have an ordinance amending Ordinance 1973-44, rezoning Lot 2969 on Herbert Road from M1 Manufacturing District to S Special District. Well, Mr. President, this would constitute first reading, and I would suggest that we set a public hearing on this ordinance for November 18th at 5:15 p.m. That probably needs to be a separate motion, though.
You could set it. It shouldn't be part of your motion, but you could certainly set it at 5:15 if that's what you want to do. So let's act on the motion.
Thank you.
We're good.
Yeah,
We don't need a second. That's just first reading.
First reading.
So, but we're all in agreement. You want to set the public hearing for 5:15?
Set it for 5:15 on November 18th.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, on to item B.
Any public comments?
Public comments?
Yes. Frank McKeel, 220 Glenview. This redistricting,
The rezoning, right?
rezoning.
Yep.
Does this have anything to do with that aluminum foundry up
No,
under the road?
this is for the new fire station on Herbert
Oh,
Road.
just the fire
Yeah,
station?
It's a fire station.
Okay.
Yep.
But this is property that was owned by Star Extruded Shapes. They have sold that property to the Cardinal Joint Fire District and is being proposed for rezoning to accommodate the new fire station.
Got it. Thank you.
Item B. As per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move the council dispense with the requirement of full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorize it by title only. Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Rogers, discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
As per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move the council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorize it by title only. Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Morvay. Discussion. Public comments. Clerk, please call the roll. Or,
I'm sorry, somebody's got to read it. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Mr.
sorry.
President, I have an ordinance revising Canfield Codified Ordinance Chapter 506 regarding dangerous and vicious dogs. I move for passage of this ordinance.
Second.
Mayor, second. Discussion?
Yeah, can I just explain briefly? This now brings our ordinance in line with the changes made in the revised code, Ohio Revised Code in 2012. We're simply removing the definition. We're not defining dangerous dog by breed-specific language any longer. A dangerous dog or a vicious dog will be defined pursuant to our new ordinance based on their behavior.
And that's consistent with the state of
It's
Ohio.
consistent with what the state did, although we weren't compelled to do what the state did. They left the cities with authority to legislate as they deemed appropriate. We are putting ours in compliance with the state code.
Thanks, Mark. Public comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
No?
And the number is?
2015-34.
Thank you. Item C, as per the provisions in Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move the council discuss the requirement of a full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorize it by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morvay. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
As per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move the council discuss the requirement of a full reading of the proposed ordinance, authorized reading by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes, Mr. President, I have an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with R.T. Vernal for the milling and resurfacing of Fairview Avenue, parentheses, from Maple Street to US 224, parentheses, project, and to declare said ordinance an emergency. And I move for passage.
Second.
Mr. Tisch, second. Discussion?
Mr. President?
Yes.
This section of Fairview, I think we had talked about paving this. I'm not sure whether it was an error, but at any rate, when we put out our bids for the Fairview Avenue paving project, it was bid to go from Maple Street to Indian Lake Boulevard. And I guess I had made the inquiry as to whether we had sufficient dollars left in the budget to be able to do this so that we could complete Fairview down to 224. Obviously, we had those dollars, and we do have a proposal to do that, and it is less than the bid limitation, and therefore we have it on the agenda for this evening. And it is an emergency to accommodate getting the project done before winter.
Very good. Thank you, John. Public comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
And the number is?
2015-35.
Thank you. Item D, as per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move the council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed motion and authorize it by title only. Second. Mr. Rogers, second. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
Mayor?
Mr. President, we have a motion number?
It hasn't passed yet. That was title only.
Mr. President, I have a motion to appoint Timothy Cunning as special counsel. I move for passage.
Second.
Second, Mr. Morvay. Discussion?
Brief discussion, if you don't mind. This is as the result of the city being named in a lawsuit along with another party. We submitted the complaint to our insurance carrier. We have coverage. It's a non-monetary claim against the city. We have coverage for that. In speaking with the insurance provider, he let us determine who we wanted to handle that as insurance counsel. I recommended Tim Cunning, who's right there. So this motion is appointing Tim to defend the city in that regard.
Thanks, Mark.
Doesn't cost the city a penny, Frank.
Great. Public comments? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
The number is?
2015-14.
Thank you. As per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed motion and authorize it by title only. Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Morvay. Discussion? Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch.
Mr. President, I have a motion to waive a portion of utility charges. I move for passage.
Second. Mayor Decker.
Second, Mayor?
This is that the Mahoney County sanitary engineer is waiving the sanitary fees of $1,525.14, and we're just passing that on to the homeowner.
That's correct.
Okay.
As per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move the council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed ordinance and authorize reading by title only. Second.
Second.
Wait.
Wait, I thought-
We already voted on the motion.
Yeah, I thought we did.
The motion.
Yeah, I thought we
We
did.
only did title.
We did. Yeah, we already moved the title on.
Sorry. Public comments? Will the clerk please call?
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
2015-15.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I move we recess into executive session for the purpose of pending litigation. At the conclusion, we will return to here for dismissal.
And that's the new protocol. We need to return and adjourn the meeting after executive session. So Mr. Tisch is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Tisch. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody.